Winter can be rough on your homes. So if you own a home in the Central Ohio area, let me break down a few things that you can do now as we are heading hopefully into spring soon that will save you in the long term. So stick around and let me break this down for you. So we are going to start from the top. We're going to talk about the roof. So as snow and ice builds up over winter, it melts and then we get more. You know how it's been in Columbus recently. That can cause shingles to potentially loosen, maybe seals to loosen up a little bit. So it's always important to just take a visual check of your roof. So walk around, look at it. If anything looks off, maybe you see some shingles starting to curl or you're missing some shingles, this would be a great time to reach out to a roofing contractor to make sure that once we head into the spring season that those missing shingles or any water intrusion potential within your roof gets fixed so that when we hit these spring rain showers, we don't run into any water in your attic, roof, what have you. So going down from the roof, we're going to look at those gutters and those downspouts next. So debris can build up in them. Again, ice can form in them. If that debris blocks any of the downspouts or the gutters, that can cause that ice to build up and push towards the roof, or it can just allow that water to sit by the foundation once it starts to warm up and melt a little bit. So you want to make sure that you're not seeing any water or ice build up around the gutters, around your foundation, because that can cause big issues down the road. Next, we're going to head into exterior faucets. So any spigots that you have outside, even if they are freeze-proof, when we come into the winter, or come out of the winter months, I should say, into the spring months, you want to make sure that you just slowly turn on that spigot and check inside for any minor drips or anything with that plumbing, because that just indicates that there's a small crack within that plumbing. So again, making sure when you go to turn on those spigots coming out of winter into spring, just do it really slow and just check the inside and the outside of that foundation wall. So again, if you live in Columbus, Ohio, you know that this winter has been somewhat brutal. I feel like we can't stay warm. So just making sure that you are tuning up your HVAC system. Obviously, we're in the dead of winter right now. But, simple things, just making sure that you change out your air filter if you haven't changed that out for a second. If you don't know where that is, you can reach out to me. I got you. I can help you out. As we head into spring, making sure that you have somebody set up to just check out the system, because it does take quite a beating here in the Central Ohio region during winter. You just want to make sure everything's working properly so that you can mitigate those higher expenses down the road. So again, with that cold air blowing, especially on those windows, this is a good time to check all of your windows. Feel for any cracks, any air coming in that maybe there's some cracked caulking or you need some new weather stripping within that window. It's a good time to just go around, especially if it's a day like today where the wind is just whipping. You can feel that energy loss happen, literally at your fingertips if you move your hands around the window. So just check your windows, and if that's something, maybe updating the windows here in the future is going to be something that you need to do and you need to start budgeting for. But again, you could always do simple fixes like caulking wherever you see some, open seals, or adding new weather stripping, and that can go a long way. So I talked about this briefly before, but again, just checking the foundation, as water builds up potentially around the foundation, make sure that you don't see any new cracks or any new areas where water can potentially get into your basement. And also just take note of, as that snow and that ice is melting, is it melting away from your foundation or is it sitting close to your foundation? If it's sitting close to the foundation, it's only been like 1 year that that's happened. that could cause issues, but if it's something that's built up over and over and you can mitigate it sooner rather than later, that is going to save you thousands down the road when it comes to foundation repairs. Next, you want to check your trees and your landscape around your home. So as snow builds up on it, ice builds up on it, can get very heavy and it can cause branches to crack or break. You just want to take note of anything that you see, potentially broken on that tree, because, and especially if it's higher up, come into the springtime where we start to get some of those pretty intense thunderstorms. You don't want that breaking off and potentially damaging any part of your property. As you're on the outside of your property, check for any deck and railing issues that you might see as well. So, that cold air and then warming up can cause that wood to expand and contract. It can loosen fasteners. It can create soft spots within that wood. So checking those things now, especially as we're heading into spring. Hopefully warmer weather is around the corner. It feels like it can't get here soon enough, but we're going to be outside more, and we want to make sure that we have a realistic idea of what we might need to take care of once it warms up, and you don't want anybody to fall through a deck or anything like that. If you are somebody with a fireplace, this is also a great time to take note of the condition of that fireplace. So check if you see any mortar deterioration on the exterior, any bricks that seem loose. The bricks can spall as well, so water gets stuck inside of those bricks, and then as it expands and contracts, it can cause that brick to basically flake off. So if you see any signs of any of those things, it is very important to make sure that you reach out to a chimney contractor. I got a couple that I can refer to you, and make sure that you stay ahead of those issues, because chimney repair or replacement can get quite expensive. It's one of those things that you don't think would be that much, but down the road, if there's a lot of deferred maintenance on that chimney, it can really add up over time. So make sure you keep an eye on that. And last but not least, make sure that you check any of your safety devices within the home. So we're already in the home bundled up and everything, but this is a good time for you to go around, check out your carbon monoxide detector, your smoke detectors. These items can sometimes be forgotten about, so replace batteries, make sure they're in good working condition, because you never know when one of those things could save your life. So make sure that they are all functioning properly. So I know I gave you several items to look at during the winter time as we're heading into spring, and just making sure that you can stay up on top of these things little by little throughout the year is really going to help you and your wallet stay in check throughout time. So if you have any questions about anything that I discussed today, or just looking for other home tips or tricks, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to be a great resource for you. Again, my name is C-Bus Nathan. I put out videos every Friday about the Central Ohio area. So follow along. I hope you all have a great week. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next Friday.